Celebrities sharing their opinions on political issues isn't necessarily anything new. They've done that for years, but it does feel like in more recent years, many celebrities out there have transitioned into becoming full-time activists whenever they're not actively working on a project. This includes when they're doing the press junket for whatever movie that they're doing the press junket for. It might be apolitical entirely, but still they'll try to find some way to work politics into their interviews because that's truly what they care about. But after the last presidential election, when we saw that not only did their opinion not move the needle at all, but the entire country was pretty much shifting away from what they were saying. And some people out there are starting to realize, maybe it's not actually beneficial to them to actually share their opinions on this issue, because at best, people are just going to not care whatsoever and be like, well, I'll still watch their stuff because I like them, but I think they're an idiot in real life. But at worst, people are going to stop actually supporting them whatsoever because they're like, well, they disagree with me politically, so I'm not going to watch their stuff. And this isn't to say that it's happening on only one side of the political spectrum. It happens from people on both the left and right. It just feels like it's mostly on people on the left doing this because that's just kind of where people fall within Hollywood. But some people out there are starting to understand that the general public doesn't actually care about the opinion of celebrities. And maybe it's not useful for them or even for their objective to be so vocal in the public. But before we really get into this story, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And if you can, leave a comment, hit the like button too, because it helps me out. Jennifer Lawrence says, I don't really know if I should speak out on Trump and politics anymore. I'm just adding fuel to the fire that's ripping the country apart. This is coming from Variety. So scrolling down, it talks about how during Trump's first administration, Jennifer Lawrence was basically all against him and even wrote an op-ed basically criticizing Trump and a lot of the people who voted for him. The Oscar winner was outspoken against Donald Trump during his first administration as U.S. president, notably writing an op-ed after Election Day in which he declared that Trump's victory meant the only people that feel safe in America, that their rights are recognized and respected, are white men. Now, like I said, the best case scenario for saying something like that is that people are not going to care one way or the other. Worst case scenario is people are going to stop supporting your work because of stuff you've said. Now, it's possible there's going to be people out there and be like, oh, well, I'm going to support her now because she says this sort of thing. But since so many celebrities push this left-wing agenda, most people don't care if another celebrity does the same thing. So it almost feels like it's unique when you have a celebrity who's pushing a right-wing agenda. They might actually see a little bit of a boost in support, but because that's kind of a rarity within Hollywood, but a celebrity saying a left-wing position, no one cares about that. That just kind of gets drowned out. So people like Jennifer Lawrence are starting to understand like there's really no benefit to actually pushing these agendas. And in fact, she even thinks if you have a movie that's has subtle messaging that kind of furthers their goal, if you're going to alienate the audience before they even get a chance to see it, then you might actually be hurting your overall agenda. When asked by the interview host, Lulu Garcia Navarro, about her thoughts on speaking out now regarding Trump and politics, Lawrence answered, I don't really know if I should. The first Trump administration was so wild, and just how can we let this stand? I felt like I was running around like a chicken with my head cut off, but as we've learned election after election, celebrities do not make a difference whatsoever on how people vote for. So then what am I doing? I'm just sharing my opinion on something that's going to add fuel to the fire that's ripping the country apart. We are so divided. Yeah, 100%. You're not actually going to sway anyone's opinions. Like I said, the best case scenario you can probably hope for as a celebrity pushing a left-wing political agenda is that people are just not going to care what you have to say. I couldn't imagine a scenario where someone was like, oh, well, I was supportive of Trump, but since Jennifer Lawrence criticized him, now I'm going to be against him. It's like that doesn't happen. It really doesn't do any good for you. So there's really no point in trying to actually do that. I think I'm in a complicated recalibration because I'm also an artist. Lawrence continued with this temperature and the way things can turn out. I don't want to start turning people off to films and to art that could change consciousness or change the world because they don't like my political opinions. I want to protect my craft so that you can still get lost in what I'm doing. And I can't say something that's going to speak to some kind of peace or lowering the temperature or some sort of solution. I don't want to be part of the problem. I don't want to make the problem worse. So basically, if you're just going to be whining about something like that, it really serves no purpose. So unless you actually have a solution or something significant to say, then probably should just keep your opinions to yourself, because the majority of people don't actually care about the opinions of celebrities. And even if they agree with them, they generally aren't going to support them because they agree with them or anything like that. So it really doesn't work out too well for the celebrities sharing their divisive political opinions. Now, this isn't to say that it's all bad. In certain respects, I think it could actually be beneficial to their bottom line if they do share an opinion on a hot button issue. But it's not for all people out there. Like if they're making a small budget movie that pushes a certain political agenda, then maybe it would be beneficial to them to basically try to rally the people who support that agenda to go see it in theaters. And perhaps they can find some success by being divisive. But when they make their next movie, if it's supposed to be a blockbuster movie that has to have general audience appeal, the public is still going to understand or remember. They're like, hey, you're the person who said this stuff in the past, so I don't want to support you. So you kind of have to make your bed when you're going to opine on certain issues like this. So maybe it's better just to not be divisive at all. You watch these actors' faces who have had incredible careers and made incredible contributions, and then one half of the internet, actually just one half of the country, not just the internet, doesn't want to see their face anymore. I get so upset for those people, and it feels so wrong. So that's kind of what she said during this interview. Yeah, I mean, I can understand people being like, thinking it seems wrong, like not wanting to support someone because you disagree with them politically. And the way I see it is, it's all about, can you separate the art from the artist sort of mentality? And I think it depends, or at least the way I kind of go about doing things like that is, if a person is basically just an activist, that's their entire public persona besides the times that they're actually performing in a movie or a show, then it's one of those situations where I have a hard time separating the actor from the person that they know. And this isn't necessarily just about one who's an activist. If they have a real public profile, then I find that difficult to actually separate the two. And I prefer a situation where I don't know much about the actor personally. Like the only time you really see them is when they're just talking about the current movie that they're in, doing the press junket for that, and then they kind of disappear from the public light. I mean, if you really think about some of the greatest actors out there, I mean, that's kind of what they were. They're more elusive people that you don't know much about them, and that's the way they can be absorbed in, or you can just kind of absorb them as a character and they can kind of get lost in their respective role. When you know about them too much publicly, then you're not seeing them as a performer, you're just seeing them as an actor, and it just doesn't work out. At least to me, it doesn't work out that well. So this goes to ones who are more activists, but just kind of anyone who has a public profile. It's just a lot of them, their public profile is more activism nowadays. So it's easier to kind of get off put by them. And also when their public persona is something that's really divisive to a large portion of the audience, well, then that's also another negative. But Jennifer Lawrence even goes on in this interview, say that this doesn't necessarily mean that she's gonna change her opinions. Her production company has movies that are going to be coming out that does have a political agenda, and she feels that if she's going to try to make it more public about that, then, or if she's going to try to be giving her own opinions that are off-putting to the audience, then maybe people won't see her movies. But if you can kind of get them into the theaters, then, or get them to give it a chance, then maybe you could sway them that way. But trying to basically just be off-putting, it's just kind of like the hard sell, and it doesn't work out. So she kind of wants to shy away from that. So this isn't to say that Hollywood is going to get rid of politics entirely. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't see people changing their opinions, but I think they're going to kind of make it a little bit more discreet, or at least not be as overt about it in the future, because we have seen that it's not really beneficial to them. This article, Hollywood has another dismal summer after telling half of its Americans it hates them. This was published in August. So it really does feel like many people just aren't interested in what celebrities have to say anymore. And I think we're going to kind of see a situation where a lot of movies kind of shy away from that, or at least kind of move away from pushing their political agenda in the future, in hopes that we can kind of go back to how things used to be, where movies were made for entertainment and not necessarily made to try to push some type of goal, at least not make that the front and center of what they're trying to do. But let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. Also, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you want to stay up to date with the latest entertainment news. And don't forget to hit the like button and share the video out there, because it helps out with the channel. Thank you.